Hi YouTube. So basically the reason why I'm doing this video is talk about the start of my weight loss surgery journey. A lot of people are kind of going through the same thing or have gone through the same thing, and I've seen a ton of videos. The one thing that I would say though is that for me at least, most of those videos are women. There are a few guys, but it seems like guys don't like to talk about their weight loss surgery journey. I started with, my first doctor, um, and he no longer has a license. So, great doctor. It was unrelated, um, hopefully. Yeah. So, anyway, there may be some people here that only eat like one Big Mac large meal a day. But that's still like, 1,800 calories worth of crap. And it's mostly just fat and carbs and fat carbs. Is that a thing? That's a thing. So, I mean, essentially, it's not necessarily that you eat a lot, you just don't eat well. And for some people, it is that they don't eat a lot. They don't eat meals like they're supposed to. You're supposed to have 3 meals a day. My personal issue was definitely the not eating every meal. Like I have days where I don't do that, but I also have days where I go too long without eating and then have a big meal, and then I'm like tricked myself into going, I'm still hungry. I need like seconds and thirds and fourths. I don't eat like that. That's not an always thing, but it does happen. And so it's easy to see how, in a span of like 6 months, you may put on like 10, 15 pounds. It's not a lot all at once. You don't notice it. It just kind of sneaks up on you. So, wow. But yeah. So basically, it was the first thing that they started with. They then went into what is the requirements for getting any kind of weight loss surgery, that it's a tool, and that, you have to put in some hard work with it. It's not something that's just going to be given to you. And honestly, I completely understood that, and it was interesting seeing some of the reactions from other people that were in the room that just they thought, I'll get the surgery and the weight will just melt off. And for some people, I mean, that's true. It's going to melt off, but they're doing what they're supposed to do. Like if you're drinking while you're eating, you're already messing up. So there's some, behavior choices that you have to make right off the bat, even considering this, so that you're going to be successful. And then after that, by the end of the class, if you're still interested, then you definitely speak to the surgeon. You talk about what surgery option you would choose. And initially, I'd gone in and I was really dead set on getting um, the bypass surgery, gastric bypass, and I was fully 100% on board for it. Had done my research. That is what I wanted. Went in the room. He asked me what I wanted. I told him, and he's like, "Well, your BMI is 62, and normally my cutoff for that is 60. You're young. We can do it. And I'm like, well, what's your preference? And he's like, well, for you, I don't really have a preference per se, but I would say that, from a surgeon's perspective, there are less complications with doing the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. And I was like, okay, well, let's do that. I like less complications. It doesn't make it 100% safe. There's risks involved, as with any surgery. So it's not like everything's going to be, peachy keen, hunky dory, whatever you want to say. Um, but, less risk is better than, more risk. So once I had chosen it, I got a packet on what I needed to complete in order to get the surgery approved. And obviously, I have insurance. I have Blue Shield of California through my employer. So I have the Blue Shield of California, PPO 250, ENTL, like weird 100 things after that. It's 90%. I have a 10% copay, both for the hospital and the surgeon. So I got what I would pay in that same meeting. It was like 290 something for the surgeon's copay, and I paid that in full, and then it was $400 for the program. So it was like six something, 660, and I paid that in the program, and unsweetened tea, by the way. And so paid that fee. The requirements of my class were, one, I had to actually be knowledgeable, well knowledgeable, which according to my insurance is 3 classes, and according to Dr. Babineau's office is 3 classes. And honestly, I sat through the 3 classes, read the paperwork. It's pretty much the same thing over and over. You just need to get it down pat, because you don't want to screw that up once you get surgery. And I understand that. I joined 2 communities actually, the Thinner Times Forum and then Bariatric Pal, and kind of got a lot of opinions from the people that were going to do this, that have done it, that have been through my shoes, and move forward, with my plan. Had to get a full psych evaluation from my psychologist, which in my case, I actually work for a company called Doctor on Demand. So, it's video visits with psychologists and doctors, and both my doctor and my psychologist are on Doctor on Demand. So it was very easy for me, and so I completed the psych evaluation, within the week, and completed the note from my doctor saying that this is medically necessary and he recommends it. And then I also got a nutritionist evaluation over the phone and got that completed, and it was faxed in, and then they filled out the paperwork. That was it, actually, for my requirements. And then I had to give 3 years of weight loss history. So the interesting part here for me is I don't have 3 years of weight loss history. I just don't. I've been fat for more than 3 years, so yay. So I told the nurse, I'm like, I can submit, what's been submitted to the doctor. I have like almost 2.2 years worth of Withing Smart Scale readings. Like I have a Withing scale over there. Actually, it's right over there on the floor, and essentially it records it, puts it in a database, whatever. And so you can see that I, had a higher than 50 BMI for the last several years, even when I, tried really hard. So I had that. Normally they want, your doctor weigh-ins, and since that was being submitted to my doctor, it kind of worked anyway. But in my case, all of my previous readings were with my original doctor. Turns out he lost his license. The Board of Medicine was offering to give his license back, but he could only practice where they wanted him to practice. So I don't know what happened there, but he chose not to do so. So his license wasn't renewed, and then he shut off his phone number and his fax machine. So getting a hold of him and getting my records became impossible. And so that's what I had. That's what I submitted. And then, Nurse Frida submitted everything to Blue Shield of California. They came back within a week and said, well, actually, that's not true. We submitted it on the 16th of September, and to a number that I guess wasn't the correct number. And so when I was talking to the insurance company, they're like, did they send it to this number? And this is like the 25th at that point. And I was like, no, I'll tell them to send it to that number. So we did, and I told them, make sure you write Rush on it, or priority, And when I did that, they forgot to write that on there, so it actually still went the slow process. And so it was submitted on the 26th, and they had me approved actually within about a week. So it was like October 2nd. But I was ecstatic that I got approval first time. Didn't have to fight it. Didn't have to do anything crazy. They recognized I needed it. I obviously recognized that I needed it. It's a great tool, and I don't expect miracles. I expect hard work, and I put it in before. I'm not afraid to put it in again. I just need that extra help. And so that's the plan we made. It's what we did. And essentially, they set my surgery date for the 26th of October 2015. So for those of you doing math, I have 11 days from today, and I'm on 3 liquid protein meal replacements a day, and 2 protein bars a day for the next 10 days. And then the day before surgery, I'm on clear liquids only. And then the day of, nothing. And so I go in, I get surgery. I'll be there for 3 days and 2 nights. So the night of the surgery, the next day, that night, the next day, and I can go home. So I'm excited. Don't give up. Don't be one of those people that's like, well, I gave up on that because it was too complicated, or I felt like people were giving me the runaround. Kick ass, take names, and get it done. Don't give up. Insurance companies don't make people live longer. They're in the business to make money because just like their name, insurance company, their company. They're not in the business to give it away. And with the average patient lifespan for them being something like 2.6 years, they're not going to make their money back in general. So that's why they choose not to cover it in most cases. So for those of you who have been with your insurance company, 20 years, and then you try to get it and they say no, that's why. And it's not you. They're not looking at you as an individual. They're looking at the big picture. So it's your job to make them look at you as an individual, and reach out, get resources, talk to people, make it happen. Only you can make that happen. Only you can change your life, and it starts with that first phone call. So do it. The other thing that I would say is that I'm super not excited about the liquid diet phase. Which I am on now because I don't know. There's something about solid food that just makes you feel good, right? And now I'm on like liquid food, and I'm like cranky. I'm not necessarily hungry per se. So I think at least in my case, I chose Shakeology since I've been doing it on Beachbody. It's just this beautiful bag right here. After your weight loss surgery, I mean, you still can. It's a little higher in carbs than I might recommend. It's like 18 grams. And the protein is pretty good. It's like 16 grams, although, you could do like 24, I think, in a 2-hour setting or whatever. So it's a little light there, but fairly good. And the sugars are at 8 grams. Granted, they're stevia, so, it is what it is. Take it with a grain of salt, but generally you want to stick to 6 or below, according to everything I've heard, once you've had weight loss surgery. I still think that, I have seen people that have used Shakeology after surgery. That's still my plan. I'm using it before. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm not even a Beachbody coach anymore, but the stuff's amazing. Is it the best tasting in the world? I'm not going to lie to you. It's not. It tastes pretty good to me. But it's not the best in the world. I'm sure there's better shakes out there. But I think there's not very many that are healthier out there, if that makes sense. Unless you like literally stand in your kitchen, spend like $50 and make your own every day. Whereas this, you can buy a bag. It's fairly expensive, but it ends up being like $4 a shake, which for what you get in, and I think is pretty positive. So that's just a 2-second soapbox about what I'm doing. I'll definitely keep everyone, informed as I go along. I have a lot, ahead of me. I go in on the 19th for a 1-week pre-evaluation to see the doctor, get blood work done, get any questions answered, and wrap up the surgery schedule basically. And from there, I'll be on the table, and operation will be done on the 26th, and then it's recovery. So excited. Yay. If you guys have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. I'll reach out to you. Definitely try to answer as many as I can. Otherwise, I think that's it. And happy whatever day. I think, what is this, Thursday? Happy Thursday. For those of you judging me right now, I just had like a 3-day trip. I had to fly to San Francisco, flew back to Texas. So my mind's all kind of jumbled today. Need some rest. Just thought I would do this video and put it together really quick. So again, my name's Cody, and this is my weight loss journey.